Dhafer has a decade of experience with the United Nations, and he has been running several youth entrepreneurial programs with the UNDP for the past years, and he currently just founded his own business called Business by Design, and he is using design thinking as a tool to grow business. And today he will build up on the last session on design thinking and how to use design thinking as a tool to grow your team. So not just start the idea, but also develop it into a real project and mobilize people around it. And his session is very important for the second phase that we have planned that will replace the months of the conference in Jordan. So I'll let Dhafer also introduce himself and kick off his session. There will be several slots for Q&As, but I will let Dhafer manage his own time. And with that, you got the mic, Dhafer. You are on mute.
On mute.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm still trying to set up the show for you guys. So pardon me, give me 1 minute, please.
While Dhafer is setting up, how about just a couple of you unmute, let Dhafer know where you're from and what you're working on right now. Sarah, can we start with you?
Yeah, yes, please.
You said my name, sorry, Becca. Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Sarah Ali. I'm a third stage medical student from northern Iraq, and I'm currently working on a project about mental health and mental health awareness in the region. And I'm trying to collect as many ideas and as many data about the people who are struggling specifically with this issue and how we can actually basically bring more awareness about this topic and how we can help those people who are really in need for treatments for such kind of diseases. Thank you.
Great, Salim.
Hello, Dhafer. This is Salim from Algeria, North Africa. Currently, I'm working in a project that related to education. As you know, in Middle East, we don't have this culture of teaching soft skills or social entrepreneurship in universities. That's why we are working on our startup in order to increase this culture by offering a lot of courses and workshops in soft skills and social entrepreneurship for fresh graduates.
Thanks, Salim. Lama, can we go to you?
Hello, I'm Lama from Lebanon. I'm currently finishing my master's in international and transnational criminal law, and I'm working with Elif on freedom of religion and belief on a national basis in Lebanon and on a regional Arab basis with Palestine, Syria, Iraq, and the Netherlands. That's it.
Great.
Stein?
Oh, my name is Stein. I'm from the Netherlands. I've just finished a master in media and communication. And I've written a thesis about Dutch conspiracy groups on Facebook and the matter of how conspiracies are distributed and what kind of sources they're being used. Right now, I've just been told that I'm probably going to be hired to help in the organization that's testing people on COVID and trying to find out if someone is infected, who that person has been in contact with, and then trying to figure out how the spread has been and trying to warn other people that they have been in contact with someone who has been infected in order to prevent further spread. And that's what I'm doing right now.
Great, thanks, Stein.
Great.
All right, Dhafer, you've got our full geographic representation, Netherlands, North Africa, Middle East, all the way over to Iraq. So over to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for organizing this event. And Like basically, I think Keja covered everything about me. I've worked with design thinking for the past 7 years, and I'm really in love with this methodology, and I'm trying to spread this like kind of infection around the world, wherever and however I can. And like the thing that it reached to a point that I also designed my own business. The core value of the business is how to use design thinking and human-centered design in helping businesses and people working in like in Iraq and maybe in the region, how to use more human-centered design in designing their businesses and overcome the challenges. And also not only for businesses, but also for like career coaching. So how we can help individuals as well find their way and their path, their career path in life, and how they design or redesign your life using this kind of methodologies. Today we're going to talk about like design thinking, but from like, let's say, two perspectives. One thing is that if we are planning to design kind of project and how we can do that, and also how we can kind of help our team to reach this kind of mindset, and how we can help our like overcome the problems that comes within like managing a project or managing an organization or a group of people. So more or less, this is our direction. And to start with that, the thing that for me that differentiates design thinking from many other things, that we always believe that with design thinking we can reach upper ground, not just common grounds. So people can come out of the experience with better understanding, with more knowledge and experience in dealing with certain issues, and to actually enhance how the team is functioning. So what we are going to talk about today is how to reach upper ground using design thinking methodology. And please stop me whenever you have any question or any comment, because we want to have like more kind of dynamic session. I believe that you had a session with Hamza and you covered the basics of design thinking. So I'm trying to build up on what you have gone through, but we're going to go a bit deeper into some of the tools that you will be using with design thinking. So in general, before we start, what is design thinking? And here we're talking about design thinking as a methodology, which means that there are kind of stages and steps and a process that we can go through in order to reach kind of conclusion and reach kind of results. Okay. At the same time, it is kind of like mindset, because it changes the way you see things. It changes the way you interact with other people and with the problems in hand. The thing that we need to know, which is very important about design thinking, that it is not linear, meaning that although we're talking about stages, but those stages we will always go back and forth between those stages, okay, in order to reach a kind of conclusion. It can help us to design like product, service, okay, even social kind of solutions that we are planning. So that's why we see design thinking used in small organizations, big organizations, companies, banks, okay, universities. So it doesn't matter what kind of project you're working on, you can always use design thinking as a methodology for like research and problem solving. And it's also the most important thing, which is that it is human-centered. So we always focus on people. We always focus on our customer, our client, our target group, in order to come up with, to find out what's their problem and then come up with the best solution for them. The thing that like design thinking is not for is kind of problems that is 1+1. So anything that is like kind of we have enough data and it's kind of linear that we can reach to a conclusion without like killing it. So we can go think the way we want, but design thinking is better suited with dilemmas, things that kind of complicate the problems. Not very complicated, not necessarily very complicated, but at least we are not sure about, like we don't have enough data, we have different perspectives, we have different stakeholders involved in the situation. Then we can use design thinking for that. And this is like where it comes as team building kind of activities and also social cohesion approach. And this is what I have used most of my professional life with UNDP, working on, like for me, design thinking was not just about building businesses, but it's about building community. So when you bring like people together and they start thinking about identifying the problems that they face in their university and their company and their team and their community, and then gathering information and do all the work and do all the thinking to reach to identify the problem and reach a solution. This process bring people together, make them more like more understanding what kind of like weaknesses they have, what kind of strength, how they can communicate, all these kind of things that would actually build the connection among the team. So for me, it's always a good approach to just like use these kind of activities to build the trust among the team and make them communicate better. Any questions so far? Good. So as you may know, that design thinking starts with empathy and then define, ideate, prototype, and testing. That's the session over. Ma salama. Okay. So this is the thing that the process that we always go through. It's very simple. It's cute, yet it is really messy when you start actually doing this, like using it for real, to tackle a real problem, and you have to end up with something. So people usually during the process feel kind of frustrated, feel lost. Okay, and this is normal, and this is actually healthy. The more you are like you dig deeper into humans and what kind of problems they are having, it is not easy at all. So you'll get a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of input, and you have to start like kind of filtering this data, analyzing this data in order to reach to a conclusion. We'll see how. The thing is that, like, as innovators, as entrepreneurs, we always think about finding a problem that's worth solving. And this is the first and one of the most important conditions. There are like problems everywhere, anywhere around us with our team, external, internal, whatever. Some problems are worth solving, some problems that we can keep them waiting, or they are not worth our time or our energy. So we have to always think about what is worth solving. And then after that, we think about how practical our solution is. After we find the solution, can we build a business around this? Can we make it sustainable? So we always think about the sustainability of our solution, which brings to the next thing is that we have 3 dimensions that we think about when we are deciding like for any project. One thing is that desire, need, and want. Okay, so we have to figure out if there is a need or if there is a desire for whatever thing that we're producing, a product, a service, anything that we're working on. How do we know that? We know that by empathizing and by identifying the problem that our customer is facing. The second thing, and the second most important thing, which is the technology. And here, do we have the technical kind of capacity? Do we have the knowledge? Do we have the skills in order to produce the solution, to make the solution happening on the ground? And here, ideate and prototype will jump in, and also testing. This is where we test if we have the technical capacity to do it. And finally, we have to think about the sustainability and the profitability of our project. Okay, and the reason why I put like testing in this way, because testing can help us identify if the technology is okay, if the desire is there, all these kind of things. But the real test that you will face is beyond design thinking methodology. It's the market thing. When you go to the real world, it's like whatever you are doing with design thinking is planning phase. Okay, and this is going to help you design things. But then after that, when you go to the real world, this is where the real testing is going to happen. This is like how the market is going to decide if you are going to survive or not. Okay, and when I say market, even if we're talking about organizations, because organizations also, they have their own market, their own donors, and all of these kind of things. So it's the same rules apply for profit and non-profit, that the market will decide if you're surviving or not. So what we need to do is do our best during the planning and during our management from our side to find out if we have the answer. And the answer is to know the desire, the need and want of people, to know that we have the technology and we enhance the technology, the experience, the skills that we have, and to manage the cost benefit analysis for our project. So this is the homework that we have to do before like we go to the market. Let's go deeper into each stage. So first of all is empathy. With empathy, we use different tools. I'm not going to into details with every single tool, but in general, what we do is we're trying to find out as much as possible about our clients, about our customers, about our target group. So we do that by like data collection. We do interviews, we do mapping, and in order to do all these things, in the end, we come up with our persona. For me, the most important kind of tool or way to empathize is observation. You have to observe your like team member. If you are going to build a team, you need to see how people behave, how they do things. Okay, most of the time when people are like trying to start a business and or start an organization or whatever solution, what they do is they go put a survey online and try to collect some data, which is like, this is data collection. It's very important and very it's valid, but people tend to do things differently than what they think they do it. So when you ask them something through a survey or something that's electronic or even written, it's different than like watching them do their act and like live their life normally. And you do the observation and you can collect the information that you need and identify the problems that from your point of view. So basically, and for many problems, what we need is to just like spend some energy and time to observe our clients, to observe our customers and see how they behave, okay? Data collection can come from different sources. Surveys, one of them. You have like to search for any kind of documents, any kind of assessments, research that's done before you. And here it goes, like when we're talking about innovation does not come from nothing. It's knowledge based and data driven kind of decision making. Sorry. So we don't just like come up with the idea. It does not come by coincidence. We have to work very hard in order to collect the data that's going to support our direction. So data collection is very, very important. Interviews, like once we have mapped and developed kind of the first step of like the characteristics of our persona, then we can identify some people to interview. Some of them might be our like partners in the future, team members. Some of them would be like customers, people that could help us actually shape our idea. So in many social contexts, maybe we're talking about interviewing the victims, people who are like suffering from certain things, from certain trauma. So we would understand, because no matter what you know about certain situations, certain areas, it's different. You did not live the experience. So you need to interview, you need to meet someone who has been there and who gone through the experience, to learn from them how they are thinking and how they are feeling. So in this way, you are in a better situation, in a better position to suggest a solution. Any questions so far?
Yes, we have a question that's come in from the chat, Dhafer. During pandemics, in the midst of COVID and everything that's going on here, of course, engaging with and observing consumers and customers can be really challenging. Or do you have any particular tools or ideas in terms of how to do this empathy, this observation, and these interviews during COVID?
I don't think it's different than anything else, because still people like, I don't know, like depends where you are, but I think people still are going outside and people are doing activities. Besides, we have like people now, they are using internet more and more. So observation does not come also, like it comes also from the online behaviors. So like if you're thinking about like whatever product or whatever idea that you want to work on, it is like kind of like you'll be short-sighted if you don't think about going on Facebook and Instagram and search for like hashtags, search for groups, for people who are what kind of comments they are writing, what kind of groups they are gathered in. So if I'm talking about something related to like engineering, IT, or whatever, any kind of challenge, I'll go online search and start seeing like what people are like actually, what kind of pages they like, what kind of groups they join. And later on, the more I know about these kind of things, the more also it's going to help me with the later stage with the marketing. If I have identified, for example, 10 like key groups related to like environment or health or something, that they are like leading the market, leading the community. And then later on, I come up with my product or my solution. Those people I should partner with in order to market for my idea. So I don't have to do the homework twice. So from the beginning, during the empathy stage, I should know about these things. When later on, when I'm presenting my idea and someone asks me like, what kind of community is like interested in your idea, I know I have the answer because I've done my homework, I've done my research, and I know what kind of people are like I have to deal with and what kind of problems they have. So online Online is also observation. It's not, I'm not interacting with people, I'm not doing anything, I'm not asking them anything. I was just like just see how they behave online or offline. Hope I answered your question. Should we move on? Okay, so the second stage, which is to identify, and now we assume that by like passing the empathy stage, that you have kind of what you think is sufficient enough data, enough information to move to the next stage. You will always be like invited, and you will always be going back to empathy and increase your knowledge about your customers or target group. And here we want to ask about like what kind of data and what kind of things that we want to actually know. So we can divide things that we are going to get from the empathy stage into two things. One thing is our findings, and this is like what is happening with our customers. Okay, and the second part is why, the insight. Okay, so if we build our solution only on the what, then we are going to be like 90% of the time will be wrong. Okay, so if, for example, you are managing a team and your team members are not attending the weekly meeting that you are planning, if it's online or it's offline, whatever. Okay, so if you're like just thinking about that, about like people are not committed enough and they are not coming to our meetings and they are not serious, they lack motivation, whatever, you come up with whatever like idea, and based on that, if you're just saying that people are not attending our meetings, and then you stop and you start thinking about the solution, maybe you'll start thinking about like punishing people, about giving them money to come or whatever. Okay, but then you need to do the empathy in order to find the insight why people are not coming. Okay, so maybe your meetings are not challenging enough, they are not exciting. Okay, so when you know the reason why certain thing is happening, at that stage you'll be more capable of providing a solution. Okay, so we always think about like when we find something, we will always ask why this thing is happening, what's the reason behind this. Okay, in order to tackle the root causes of the problem, not just the symptoms, not just the behavior itself. And here it comes the like what they call it, problem framing, how you can frame your problem and start from there and finding the solution. So what kind of problems we are facing, we need to put it in a kind of like a frame to make it more clear and understandable. So this frame has like, one thing is the target group or the client or the customer. Okay, it has the problem, which is our finding. It has the job to be done. So our client needs to reach this. Okay, our client wants to come like wants to like go from point A to point B. Okay, so this is where they are, and this is the destination. Okay, and the problem is the thing that is stopping them from reaching there. Okay, and the insight is why this reason is there, why it's stopping them from going there. So we go back to our example. Our team members are not attending our weekly meetings because, okay, because they are not challenged enough or whatever. And then this prevents us from the job that we want to do, which is having an effective team, managing our project very well, etc. Okay, or this is another example, school, like children at school suffer from physical punishment because teachers lack modern techniques and skills to teach, and which prevents children from have like a kind of effective learning process. So this is the way we think. This is the way we like divide the kind of the problem into these kind of things. And for example, like sometimes we find more than one problem, 3, 4, 5 problems, 5 issues that has to do with our field. If we're talking about, like, for example, environment, health, whatever kind of projects that we are designing, we will find like more than one problem. So we will do problem framing for each and every problem that we have. And then from here, we have to decide which problem that we want to address, which problem is worth solving. Okay. Any questions so far? Are we cool? Good. Tamam. Once we have identified the problem, and then maybe we identified like a set of problems, 3, 4 problems, and then among my team, I decided on working on one particular problem. And the selection is usually based on, is the problem worth solving, and if we're capable of solving this problem or not. Do we like working on this problem or not? Okay. From there, we move into kind of develop our point of view. So sometimes you have the problem, but it depends how you're looking at it. So here, for example, we can say, how might we help our team members, okay, get better in managing our projects? And here, this is like how we are going to address the insight, okay? So we can say, how might we help people do that using technology, for example? This is one way, it's a point of view, okay? How can we do that if we're thinking about like making it more challenging for them, more exciting? So how can we make our team more exciting? So this is our point of view. From here, we go to the ideation phase and we start thinking about the solution. So for the previous example, how might we help children get quality education by building the capacity of teachers? Okay, so I'm focusing on building the capacity. Another point of view would be for the same problem, maybe to have kind of legislation, kind of change in legislation, and that's going to have kind of punishment for teachers who's using this kind of thing. Maybe they will be disqualified to teach or something. So our point of view is focusing on the legal framework. So we do kind of advocacy program and we push the government to issue a new law, and this law would change everything. This is our point of view. We think this way, okay? That this is the solution for the problem, okay? So it depends on how we think about the problem, okay? And this is how we go from there to the ideate stage. Any questions so far? Any problem? Any problem so far? Do you have any problem framing, guys? Okay. So we go to the ideate stage. Before we jump to that, let's think a bit about innovation. I don't know if this is clear or not. It's kind of like it's a general idea about innovation that sometimes sometimes innovation is more incremental and sometimes it's more kind of radical. So when we think about the iPhone 12, it is like kind of an incremental change innovation compared to iPhone 11. But when we think about Facebook, when it came up, it's kind of radical innovation because it changed how people think about communication. A lot of things about how we do business, how we communicate, how we educate, how we build our teams. All these kind of things kind of got influenced by Facebook. So it's kind of a radical solution, radical innovation. While many other things could be incremental. So that's why, like when people sometimes discuss, they say, okay, this idea is nice, but it's not entirely new. There's nothing, they didn't add much to the product or the service. Yes, because it has incremental kind of innovation. Now, thinking about ideation, we have like two approaches. One thing is that we think inside the box or we think outside the box. So what do you think, guys? Which one is better? Thinking inside the box or outside the box? Help me out.
Sure, outside.
Sure, outside. Okay, cool.
Both are most important.
Both?
Going back to basics, and then moving your way out. And I think starting with the basics is very important as well.
Yeah, and to be innovative, we need outside the box. To think outside.
Innovation means outside the box.
Yeah,
it can be both.
I think the most important thing is like to get things done. If we find it inside the box, that would be cool. If we do not, I think we have to go to outside the box.
But it's also important how it is done. In what way? This is also important.
Okay, so
make a new box.
Well, it depends on the situation. Like sometimes you need to follow the rules, but other times you have a problem that you don't know the solution of. So then it's outside.
hello, sorry, I got disconnected. Can you repeat, please?
Everybody thinks everything differently. You sponsored quite a big, great argument, Dhafer.
So
inside the box, outside the box.
Comment, the last comment was?
So I don't know. Did you hear mine?
No, I was disconnected.
Oh, sorry. So I said it depends on the situation. Usually you need to follow the rules. You need to think inside the box. But sometimes you face some problems you don't know the solution to. That's when you have to innovate.
Okay, good. Thank you. Like my point of view, of course, both of them, like inside the box or outside the box, both of them could be innovative. And the difference is as simple as that. You're planning to, you're hungry, you want to cook something, okay? So there's like two kind of approaches. One approach is that you plan, like you want to cook that certain dish. For example, we have something called dolma in Iraq, okay? So you're planning to do this dish and you have to go outside, do the shopping, and you bring all the ingredients and all the materials that you are going to use, and you go back and cook them. And this is kind of thinking outside the box. inside the box, like you go to the kitchen, you open the fridge, you see, you like grab whatever you have in the fridge, and from there you start being innovative to make your like your food. Okay, so usually the thing about ideation is that we have limited resources. We have team, we have time, we have money, we have location, we have technology, all these kind of things. Thinking inside the box is usually trying to think about what do we have right now and how we can stick to what we have and work from there. Thinking outside the box is about like forgetting about the resources now, forget about any kind of things that's going to stop us from thinking, and just put the idea out there, and then we will test what kind of ideas that would work for our team or for our organization. Okay, so whatever we are doing, we need both of them. We need to think inside the box and we need to think outside the box. Inside the box, there are like they call it also, if you want to like read more about it, they call it systematic thinking. Okay, they call it also closed world innovation. So in this case, you have to think of what you have, what kind of process or product that you already have, and how you enhance this product, how you enhance the capacity of this process to reach to a better result. So for example, here, if we, let's say that we are trying to make cookies, okay, and then we are trying to think inside the box. Okay, so there are like several things that we can do. For example, we can do substitution. So if we used to have the cookies that is filled with chocolate, for example, and instead of that, we fill it with strawberry. Okay, in this case, you have a new product, new line of production, okay, that would attract certain customers. People would like that. Okay, you can think about modifying your cookies. So instead of having it since like the regular size, you can have like mini cookies, something like M&Ms, okay, something very small. Maybe children will enjoy it more, okay? So this is something different. Combine, instead of selling only the cookie, I can make a package that has like kind of coffee and cookies in the same package. And this is how like from my company is producing like kind of a new product. Reverse, sometimes we need to reverse the like whatever kind of process or production or whatever we are doing. So maybe we can put the cookie inside out. Okay, so like not all the ideas of course works with all the products. But it's just like the way I'm using the cookies just to demonstrate. Put in another use. For example, usually we eat cookies during like with tea or something, and putting in another use is maybe to market cookies as a meal, something that is people must eat instead of lunch or dinner or breakfast. Okay, elimination is kind of
Is there any
eliminate
way
part.
we can avoid food as an example? Can we use other examples other than food?
What do you want? What do you want other examples? Do you use, for example, okay, let's use technology. It's much better.
Yes,
it's easier.
Yeah. It's
for example,
time,
with
so
eliminate.
With
with eliminate, for example, we see it with like iPad. The iPad is actually iPhone, or like the mobile, that you eliminate part of the iPhone, which is the SIM card. Okay, you subtract this from the mobile, you make it bigger, and you have iPad. Okay, so this is how they think in like making things like enhancing the product, they always think about these kind of activities. If you want to make, for example, a conference, okay, and you want your conference to be kind of different, and you see that usually what people do is that they do the different sessions, and in the end of the conference, they announce, for example, the recommendations, okay, and you come and you say, no, what we'll do is reverse kind of thinking. What we are going to do is in the first session, we're going to announce the recommendations based on our research and everything. And the whole conference is going to be discussion whether those recommendations are valid or not. So you reverse the whole process in order to reach a kind of like solution. What we are doing now, we are substituting the real workshops that has to be face-to-face in a training session. Okay, also we are adapting, okay, so adapting to a new situation, and we are doing the training online. Okay, so these kind of ways of thinking inside the box in order to find a solution, to enhance the process or the product that we are producing. So if you have any question, or if something that's not clear, or you have an example, please share.
We have one idea in the chat, which is when we're thinking about inside the box, sometimes that's just adding a new value to an existing idea, right? Sarah, do you want to give an example of that?
Yeah, so one thing that I know about some groups of my friends did a really cool idea is to make the general libraries online. So now they have a platform where it's specifically for shopping for only books, and they have collected all the libraries and all bookstores in the city online. So it was an idea that has been there, but they just added a new value by using the technology only.
Oh, sorry, I was mute. Yeah. So it's not always about thinking outside the box, and we always connect this with being innovative. Innovation is about using what we have. Innovation is about adapting to the new reality, what's happening on with the world. Of course, like thinking outside the box is that you try to not to think about the resources or the limitations or the time or energy or whatever. You just come up with ideas, create whatever crazy ideas. Doing a session, okay, with your team for like 1 hour or something, and thinking, like dividing things into inside the box and outside the box and all these kind of things, and coming up with 15, 20 ideas, and then filtering those ideas in a way that we'll see what kind of ideas are more practical for us to do, because some ideas are good, but we cannot do it. Okay, we don't have the resources. We cannot do it now. We maybe next month, maybe after 1 year. Okay, so this is how we can manage and initiate our brainstorming session, thinking this way, thinking inside the box or inside the box. Cool. Then, like when we reach to certain specific kind of solutions, how we present this solution is similar to the problem framing that we did, which is what type of business we are doing. Okay, are we establishing a company? Is it a page? Is it a team, a project, whatever we are doing? What kind of service or product we are producing? Okay, what is our client and what's the job to be done? Okay, so this is how
Did
So
he disconnect?
Disconnected again, yeah. Yeah, internet in Iraq is challenging a bit. So, so this is the solution, how we present our idea. And the reason why I usually try to put things in like in these kind of blocks and sentences, because I often see youth, especially when they are presenting their ideas or they are presenting the problem or something, they usually go really in different directions. They are talking about the problem, and they are talking when they are presenting the solution, they are still talking about the problem, and usually they go from one idea to another. Okay, and it's usually confusing for people listening to our presentations. So trying to put things in perspective and put them in kind of blocks would usually help us in making things more clear for people. So for our example, to establish like our example, the one we talked about, children. So our solution is to establish an institute that provides training and consultation services for teachers to enhance the quality of education. So as you can see, we talked about the problem, and then we talked about different solutions, and then we came up with one line that describes our solution. So we are establishing an institute, and the service is very clear: training and consultation services. And the reason the client is the teachers, okay? And the reason why and the job to be done is the quality of education, okay? So whenever we are trying to present a problem or an idea or a point of view, sorry guys, got disconnected again. Can you hear me now? Yeah. So whenever we are trying to present our solution, our idea to our team members, investors, whatever partners, we need to be more precise and organized in the way we are presenting the idea. And we always have to think about our client and what's the job to be done and how we are helping them to reach that with what service and what kind of business. So this is how the solution can be framed. Cool. Okay, so the next stage, which is prototyping. Of course, with ideation, as we said, that we are going to come up with a lot of ideas, okay? And sometimes we need to prototype more than one idea. But usually when we are when we have kind of limited resources and limited time, we stick to one idea that we focus on prototyping and testing. But the question, the thing that we should kind of think about when we are prototyping, we have to ask why we are doing this prototype. So sometimes we prototype things because we want to present them to some people and get feedback. Sometimes we want to do validation, which means we want them to practice and use our product or service and tell us if it's going to work for them or not. We may do that for fundraising or whatever reason that we want to test, we want to do the prototyping for. To whom we are going to present that? So are we talking to our client, customers, target group, victims, investors, team members, okay, partners, donors, okay? So based on answering all these kind of questions, then we can decide what kind of prototype we need. So sometimes, of course, for example, people who are working in design, we usually, what we do is mock-up, okay? If someone asks you to develop, for example, a website, okay? What you do is before you start developing and programming, what you do is a mock-up to show them how the website is going to look like, okay? And then from there, they can, you're presenting this for a client, okay? And if they like it, then you will move on with developing something more like with programming and everything. Sometimes we need to develop the business model, okay? And some people use the business model canvas and other tools that can represent what kind of business model we have for our project. And also we have MVP, or minimum viable product. Hello? Yeah. Disconnected again, sorry. So MVPs is the something like it is something like a small kind of the main value of the product that you are trying, or the service that you are trying to produce, and you make like kind of a sample, and you make people try these kind of samples and see what kind of feedback you'll get from them. And also we can use like customer journey, which is another tool we use to present how the customers are going to interact and go through using our service or product. I'll like these things for you to research. I'll dig a bit deeper on the business model, just to go through like the main elements. It's like this is very like it's really helpful for you, and like when you're presenting the idea, and it's very helpful for you to gather your team around like certain vision, so people they know exactly what you're working on. This is one of the like canvases I developed based on the business model canvas, but it's a bit different. So this canvas has the project name here. Here we put the customer, okay, where the target group we are working with. What is their problem based on the problem framing we talked about? What is the current available alternatives they have? And what is the solution that we are proposing? Here, like the idea is to have almost everything that in a brief, everything about our project in one page. So that's why you see that everything we worked on before, like things that we know about the customers, we put it here. For example, their age, their like kind of access, whatever our problem framing, and then the alternatives also come from our research and from our people have. And here, this is one of the key elements.
Sorry, everyone. We'll have Dhafer try video or voice only and see if that helps a bit.
I mean, I'm in Iraq, so it's understandable.
We have all been there. I remember actually one day I was on a call. I think I was in Morocco, someone on the call was in Turkey, someone in Iraq, and someone in Stanford. And the person whose internet kept going out was the Stanford person. We were like, Silicon Valley, get it together.
Yeah. So it's with everybody.
This is a big one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it is. I hope it's not the last one.
No, I hope he will be returning, but maybe it will
Yeah.
be better, like Becca said, when he's only talking instead of the video.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and this is the first time that he's actually left the call rather than just kind of cutting in and out. So I'm hoping he's doing a quick fix on his end, or we'll be able to call back in and have it be stronger.
Okay, so usually you have to disconnect your Wi-Fi, then reconnect, and it usually works.
You're experienced.
Kinda.
Okay, here he comes back. Inshallah, everybody, cross your inshallah, insha Wi-Fi, insha.
Hello, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, so when was the last thing you got from me?
I think you were talking about the value proposition part.
Yep. So what makes your team or your service or product, your project different than others? What's the value? Like, for example, you're going to a restaurant and there are like 2-3 restaurants, all of them, they are selling shawarma. Why you're choosing certain? And sorry, I'm always talking about food when I'm hungry. So why you're choosing certain restaurants? Okay, because they have something, and sometimes this value has to do with like the way the people are there, like how they treat you or something. It's not only about the food. So what kind of value? We always like try to find out what's the value and what makes our team stands out. Okay, and it's not always about, like, some people think that the only way to survive in the market is to sell cheaper kind of products, and this is absolutely wrong. Like usually the value is deeper than that, and many people they pay more for certain services and products because it has certain value. So always with our teams, with our work, we always have to identify what kind of values do we have, okay, and what do we have to offer to our customers. And here the channels, how we are going to communicate, how we are going to let customers or people know about us, and how we are going to reach them, how they are going to reach us if they want our product or service. And here the main and key activities that we have in our project and the main resources we need. For example, if you have company that is developing like design and website, so the main activities that you'll have is programming, designing, marketing, these kind of things. And the main resources you need, what kind of technology you need, what kind of human resources you need in order to make all this happening, all this project happening. And finally, down there is the cost structure and revenue stream. So what kind of cost, where the money is going, and it has to do with the resources that we need, and also where the money is coming from, and it has to do with our clients or customers, and it has to do with our value proposition and the solution that we are selling. Okay. As in the beginning, we talked about like 3 aspects, which is need and want. We talked about technology and we talked about sustainability. And here it's all reflected. So this part here, let me change the color. So this part here, it has to do with the needs and wants of the customer. And this part has to do with the technology, and down there is the sustainability part. If we're going, like our project is going to cost more than what we can get, then it's not sustainable. Even if it's a noble cause, even if it's a very good idea, even if everything is perfect, but if we're not making enough money to sustain our business, then it's not going to last forever. And that's why people, like later on, even if it's volunteering, people later on, they lose interest because you don't have the financial resources to maintain your idea and to maintain your project. Any question?
Yeah, I think we have two questions in the chat that are both related. One is kind of what are some tools that can help us figure out before we've built all these things, right? Like if we are definitely offering the right value for our target. And while we're thinking through those tools, like what should we be most flexible with while we're doing this process to make sure that we are getting to the right value and market need?
It's the like what we talked about before. If you are working, starting with understanding the customer, okay, and then from there you identify their needs and everything, and then you come up with a solution, and then you prototype. This is a prototype, part of the prototyping. You're trying to put everything in one page, everything that you have worked on, to see if it makes sense or not, okay. And then from there, you have to move into testing. You have to test your idea. You have to test what you think is your value proposition, because sometimes we think about like, for example, usually people say that our value proposition is equality. Okay, our quality is different. Okay, and they go to the market, they are trying to come up with something with high quality, and they see that the high quality thing is very expensive. And then in the end of the day, what they are offering to their customers is very expensive, and people will not buy that. Okay, the customers that I'm targeting is not capable of buying an expensive thing that I'm offering. So this kind of testing will, okay, so if we cannot come up with something with that high quality, what is our value then? This is a dynamic tool that we use it. We do the testing, we do the prototyping. Whenever we meet new people, whenever we try something, we'll come back here and change things. We develop our business model until it's mature enough. So, and then after that, we go fully to the market. And after 1-2 years, then we can say that this business model is valid and it makes sense and it's making money, okay? Or it's sustainable if it's a social entrepreneurship. And there are like different tools that we can use, but for me, this process that I talked about, it's enough to put us on the first steps to answer those questions. Okay, of course, when I'm talking about cost structure, here I need to do like market research. I need, like, if I say I need a programmer or a designer, how much this will cost me in Lebanon or in Iraq, okay? So maybe $1,000, for example, okay? This is like this $1,000, I got this number from research. I asked people, I asked around, I asked in the market, and I see, so this is going to my cost structure, okay? If I want to register in something, any kind of service, I want to buy servers or something, something online, host a website, all these kind of things. I want to print a business card, all these kind of things will go to the cost. This requires market research. Okay, I have to go out there and ask. Okay, so I have to prepare kind of budget for myself and see how this is going to be reflected in my cost structure. And the second question
was, as we're like going through this, what parts or like what steps of the process do you think we should be most flexible with? When should we kind of stick to the dream goal versus like realize this needs to move?
I don't think we have to be flexible with anything. It's everything is necessary, but the most important thing is to empathize well, to understand the problem very well. Usually, what I see that when you have like good problem framing and a clear problem, okay, things after that accelerate. So like coming up with the idea, like ideation and developing your business model and everything, it comes easy once you know exactly what you're talking, what problem you are addressing, okay, and what customer you are talking about. So the whole process is important, and we can usually do this kind of process in a sprint, meaning we can do this in 3 days, in 4 days. It's not going to take like, it varies from one project to another, but if we want to put the first draft of our business model, and I have team of 5, 6, 10 people, we sit together or we do an online meeting and we go through all these kind of steps in 3, 4, 5 days, we can reach to a conclusion by the end of those 3 days. We reach to an initial business model. Then after that, with testing and everything, we can develop this into something else and see what kind of things that we still don't know about, and we need to figure it out. Okay, I don't know. I hope this answers the questions. You said there's another question, or that's it? Okay. So final stage is testing, and with testing, it depends on what kind of tool we use to test our service or product. But in generally speaking, what we are like looking for is we take general notes. Usually we try to find out how the user experience, how people are feeling and how they are behaving around our service or product or project, okay, and the likes, what they liked about the project and what they disliked, and what kind of suggestions they have, and what kind of questions they have. So once we do like testing for, it depends of course on the scale of the project and how much investment we are putting in a project. Or if I'm putting like $500 in my project, it's different than putting like $1 million in this project. So the length of the process is going to be different. The tools will be different. Okay. Maybe I need like full market research for 3 months and hire companies in order to do the testing for me. And for small projects, we can also like just move around, like gather some people and ask them a few questions, giving them some kind of prototype to see how they interact with my product or service. Once I gather this information, and then I have to make a decision. Me and my team, we sit together and we decide, should we change, tweak a little bit, pivot our business model, improve it a little bit, do something? Should we go back to empathy? Should we go back to prototyping or to the ideation phase? Okay, in order to change our business model, because people obviously they don't like our product or service, or they don't like certain aspects of our product or service, or we continue with the same business model that the testing is valid and people are really liking most of the aspects of what we are offering, and so we continue with our business model. And also we have the option to terminate. Okay, so we close our business and we say we call it a day, we try something else, because really we got rejection, or we got like, for example, we found out that it's never going to be profitable or sustainable, okay? The way we are thinking, the technology that we are using, the market is not ready, there are kind of political kind of pressure on certain things, then it's very smart not to put our resources into a project that we already know that's going to fail in 1 month, 2 months. So we can always terminate if we find out that our project is not going to work as intended. Okay. Any question about the testing?
So I have a question. So
Yep.
when do you realize that you can't just do anything about it and the situation is just not fixable by you? When do you give up?
It's like, I don't call it giving up. It's not giving up. Okay, it's being smart. Like, this is something wrong with the, like with me, I don't have the capacity to do it. Okay, there's technology is not ready, the market is not, whatever. So what I have to do is close this topic, okay, and start over with something else. Okay, we always fail. It's because fail, like, this is not even failure, because this is like, you went through a process to learn, and you learned something, and you learn that the way you thought about the problem or the way you thought about the solution is not working. Okay, so instead of just like keep pushing on something that deep inside, you know, it's not going to work. Okay, you don't have enough data to support you. Okay, then you have to think about something else. I have people started thinking about kind of environmental project, and then they ended up with totally different project, because they found out that this is not their thing. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the technology. Okay, so it's not their battle. They have to go to something else. This is much better result than going through the, like, mobilizing resources. And maybe sometimes we usually entrepreneurs, they spend their own money. Okay, so you have like only $2,000 and you spend all the money you have on your project, and then you find out that it's not going to work, it's not profitable, okay, not sustainable. So if it's always, and that's why we do testing, we test to know if it's going to be valid or not. So the whole process, it's not about giving up, it's about learning. And the whole thing is about learning and finding out that, okay, I'm not the person fit for this solution or this problem, or there's something still I don't know about the whole process. What I need to do is terminate this project, think about something else. Okay, and there are like plenty of problems around us. We don't have to, and we don't have, this is like sometimes the pressure we put on ourselves is that we need to leave an impact and we need to do this and that. And yes, of course, everybody should have kind of impact in the community and society, but the main task we have in the beginning is to learn. So like, when I learned that this is not going to work, I have to stop it and think of something else. It's much better.
I'm sorry, if anybody else has a question, I'll ask another.
Yeah, ask it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm sorry I wasn't here in the beginning, but I've studied this process. I've been trained on this process, so I'm familiar with it. So my question is, when do you think the information you gather, the knowledge you gather, the surveys, the market research is enough? When is it enough? Is my question clear?
Yeah, it's clear. It's never enough, actually. You will always learn something new. That's why that's why there's another thing called lean startup. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with. And with lean startup, what we do is that
I've seen the book.
we gather. Yeah, so what we do is like having like people, like for example, if it's agile or if it's lean, okay, you think about like just going and testing things. So whatever information you have, like you gather some information, you reach to the prototype, and then you go to the market and you start from there, learning more about the customer and learning more about how they are dealing with your product or service. And from there, you start like pivoting and developing your business model. As now, for example, with the programming, they say that, and like before, we used to think about collecting full requirements from our customers. So when we are like developing kind of program, we sit with the customer and we try to get the full requirements. They called full requirements, okay? And based on that, we start designing. And now the mindset that there is nothing in the world called full requirements, because it's always changing. The technology is always changing. The people needs is always changing. So what we do is that we take some of the requirements, we develop the like beta version of our software, we give it to our customer, or we try to test it in any other way, okay? And then we start developing. We always develop our product, and it's never like, it's a process that's never end. And that's why we see many many projects now and many companies, they even like they are making profits from the pivot, from the change, from the updates they are making. That's why it became like a game. I give you something, you try it, you tell me what kind of problems you are facing. I'll develop the, like, get feedback from you, develop the second mobile or the second screen or the second service that is going to be version 2, version 3, version 4, and I'll make you always pay for more, okay? So if we think about like mobiles or whatever kind of products, there's nothing called full requirements. It's always changing. Things are always changing, and we have to be dynamic to respond and actually benefit from this dynamic, okay? So this will make me always alive, always in the market, always collecting data and information in order to provide better service, better products.
That's actually fantastic. Right now you're challenging my whole worldview, literally. Like, my whole life I've been a perfectionist. I've been trying to collect as much data as possible, and I've never had practice. But if it's a process, then yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Exactly. And like usually it is about how much we learn. This is the thing. Like if you are doing something and you are learning a new thing, and the more you are closer to your customer, okay, to your client, to the target group, you will learn more and faster, okay? And this is lean startup, okay? So as soon as you can, even with $100, just go to the market, be with the customer, because in the end of the day, this is the person who's going to buy from you, is going to use your service or your product, okay? So it's like sometimes it's kind of wasting time to go and research and like for like 3-4 years, okay? And then you're not doing something practical with your customers, okay? No matter how much you know, how much literature you have reviewed, still you need to be in practice. I will give you like my personal experience. Like for the past 15 years, I have worked with organizations, with companies, with people in Iraq, regionally as well, and globally as well. And I like kind of claim that I have good knowledge about business problems and these kind of things. So last year, what I did is that I did the whole process that we are talking about now. And what I did, I said, okay, let's do prototyping before I jump into registering a company. I need to prototype and see how it's going to work. So what I did is that I tried to contact some people, and some people, they reached to me, and I worked with them as a consultant. Okay, and I told them that I'm going to work with you as a consultant for free. Okay, just like for me, I'm testing something, and I need your help. You're helping me, and I'm helping you. And we did, like, I tried to do kind of a system, how I'm going to consult with companies and all these kind of things. And I discovered a lot of things that resulted in changing my business model. Okay, so the whole 15 years that I have worked, it was different than when I wanted to start my company. And it was different when I started thinking about how can I make money out of this? Because before that, I used to be working with the United Nations. I always think about helping companies for free. Okay, it's my job, okay, to help them for free. It's the mandate of my organization, okay? But now I have to sell myself in a different way, okay? So I discovered the new things that I have never thought about, okay? And in the end of the day, I sat back and I just like changed the business model. I added a few things. I pivot the whole thing in order to be more practical and more suited for the environment, for the market that I'm functioning in, which is Iraq. So it's testing is always like being like close to the customer is a key. Any other question, guys? Good. So
hold on.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Yalla.
I'm the
Yalla,
annoying student. I know. Sorry.
No.
So do you suggest
Please.
reading the Lean Startup? Because I've read $100 startup and it was very boring. It had no benefit to me personally. What book do you suggest? Because you keep referencing 100. You keep referencing Lean Startup, and I'm curious.
Read about it. It's actually Lean Startup is kind of principles. So it is not like read about. There's there's a book, a nice book called the Lean Book. Also, it's very important. Okay, and just search for like articles. You don't have to go through the whole thing, because the main idea is it's very simple. Is that you try to prototype something, okay? You put it in the market, you test, measure, and learn, okay? So it is as soon as you, like, with whatever you have resources, okay, just go there, try it, and see what kind of lesson learned you get from the process, and develop further, okay? This is how it's like snowball effect. So the more you do that, the more insight you have about your customer. And the thing that is differentiate one like service provider or one company or one organization than the other is the insight you have, how much knowledge of the customer and how much knowledge of the product and service you are providing. This is because whatever brilliant idea you have, if it's a nice idea, in 2, 3, maximum 6 months, someone else will do the same idea in the market. If you do a nice workshop, you'll see people doing the same topic and everything. If you do like good quality mobile, someone else will do better quality mobile. How you're like going to survive the market is the more you know about people, the more you know about their problems and their behaviors, so you can give them what they want, sometimes kind of manipulate them to get to sell them what you want, okay? Sell them the idea, change their behaviors towards certain things. And also read about gamification, because it is going to help you a lot with whatever project you are managing. Gamification.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Dhafer. And going back to Herman's last question and Dhafer's answer, it is not about reading these materials, it's about applying them in your organizations and projects, and not just doing it in the beginning, but continuously doing this, being in this research mindset to collect more data along the way to make sure that you keep up with the market.